The atmosphere is actually a part of the crust and is of the same polarity. It acts as a bearing for the crust to turn in. The atmosphere and oceans are affected by the helical vortex set up in each hemisphere, which rotate in opposite directions. This is caused by the depleted lines of primary light giving their energy to cause motion of the planet. As they are depleted, they try to reach rest, so they head for the points of least motion, which is at the poles. Naturally, polarity seeks opposite polarity always. A compass needle does not point to the north magnetic pole because it is attracted to it by an opposite polarity. Its negative charged end is only pressed into position parallel to the lines of light force going by it. The intelligence of the molecular arrangements of its negative charge wants to go with the other positively charged light lines in motion around it. For the same reason, the negative Earth or our other planets were never part of the positive Sun. The planets being of opposite polarity could be attracted to it, but never thrown off from the Sun. The Sun's insolation stratum prevents the positive polarity of the Sun from attracting the negative Earth into it. Light is transmitted into energy by penetration into the matter that interrupts it. The matter then gains motion. A negative vortex of light energy produces decelerating effects in negative matter. A positive vortex of light energy produces accelerating effects in negative matter. You can apply the principle of the Earth's crust and core rotation in opposite directions to an electric motor. Mount both ends of the shaft on fixed bearings. These bearings will suspend the entire motor. Run the two wires from the motor case to two copper rings mounted on insulation on one end of the shaft inside the fixed bearing. Brushes from the power supply must contact the two rings. Be sure to remove the base of the motor and balance the field case on the fixed bearings. Power applied will rotate the armature in one direction and the field case in the other direction at different speeds. By applying a pulley to the shaft and another to the case, then running V-belts from both pulleys to a common point of work, the torque force of the normal base-type electric motor will also be applied to the work. One V-belt will have to be twisted 180 degrees between the motor pulley and the pulley of the work to counteract the opposite rotations in the motor. This uses the torque force to do useful work, reduces speed and wear on the bearings, and furnishes more power for greater work output. This is the same way the core and crust of the Earth function, each being a balance to the other. The crust is the field and the core is the armature. Unfortunately, the explosion of kiloton and megaton power, A and H bombs, have unbalanced natural conditions. This will bring about a steady increase in subterranean temperatures in the northern hemisphere and lowering of temperatures in the southern hemisphere. The rapid shifting of the magnetic poles registered on the surface is the result of these bombs unbalancing the planet. Wherever the magnetic poles on the negative polarity surface are found, they indicate where the axis of the positive polarity core is located under the crust. The core is encased in fluid obsidian, 600 miles thick. Oscillations of the core, which were set up by the reaction to the bomb forces, will cause an increase in volcanoes and earthquakes due to increased frictional heat in the fluid separator. Throw the fine balance of the electric motor case out and see what would happen to the armature if it were floating in a fluid. Any spinning gyroscope will wobble if it is moved from its plane of rotation. The Earth works like a gyroscope. Magnets, atoms, planets, and people all have polarities of either positive or negative predominance. Because a body predominates in one polarity does not mean that the substance of its composition does not include matter of the opposite polarity. When your positive polarity body reaches a predominance, your negative polarity physical body dies. The same thing applies to planets, magnets, or atomic structure. The nuclear positive polarity devices being exploded in our negative polarity atmosphere are rapidly bringing about a condition of polar change on the Earth's surface. The emission of positive polarity particles, fallout from the H-bomb test, are unbalancing the polarity predominance of the Earth. The positive fallout particles are attracted to the negative polarity, north magnetic pole. When the positive particles fall, they are there on negative polarity ice. The resistance causes heat, causing the ice to melt. The negative polarity water released by melting is repelled by the more predominantly negative polarity crust of the Earth into a less predominantly negative polarity atmosphere. In the air, it is attracted in a spiral course to the positively predominant southern hemisphere, where most of it is attracted to the positive polarity south magnetic pole. This causes ice to build up at the southern pole and melt at the northern pole, bringing unbalance to the planet's axis indirectly from the explosion of nuclear bombs. The magnetic poles registered on the surface of the Earth's crust are in reality the axis poles of the Earth's positive polarity core. As more bomb tests transmute negative polarity matter to a positive polarity condition, the effects can be registered in many ways. The magnetic declination shown on the Los Angeles R2 sectional aeronautic chart dated March the 10th, 1953 shows the 15-degree east magnetic declination line at 115 degrees and 50, I don't know what that symbol is, west longitude at the 34-degree north latitude line. The chart, dated September the 27th, 1955, shows a shift of the 15 degrees east magnetic declination to the 117th degrees 2 W. This is a change of 1 degree, 12 foot in 2.5 years, or 28.8 feet per year. Formerly, it was slightly over 9 feet per year. The main reason for low layers of smog over most of the big cities is because the carbon particles in the air are not repelled upward as they used to be before the advent of H-bomb test. The polarity of these particles normally being negative, they are becoming less negative due to the fact that carbon assimilates radioactivity of positive polarity. Thus, the repelling action is reduced and the particles hang closer to the surface instead of rising to be dispersed by the winds at higher altitudes. Magnetism is the positive and negative fields generated by the revolving planet, interrupting the positive and negative lines of primary energy present in all space. Electricity is the force generated by an armature interrupting the positive and negative lines of magnetism. Each has its effect on the other, and can be converted into the other. The time field separates all primary polarities, all magnetic polarities, and all electrical polarities. The time field is unseen, infinite, and maintains the balance between the opposite charges present in all bodies. This balance is manifest in all new creations. With the continual testing of nuclear devices, the planet's unbalance will increase by the equal and opposite reaction of polarities coming ever closer to balance. This will bring about more ionization of the atmosphere, with an increase in smog, humidity, and clouds. Then the Bible prophecy will be fulfilled that says, the sun will no longer give forth her light. And now for God's words. In the pattern of my ways I live my life in many forms, known and unknown, to other parts of me. I live in space of me to constantly supervise my doings. I live in soil to nourish my roots, and I am the sap and the blood in every density I am. I live my life and love it too, being the living love of you, thrilling when you express the me in thee. My life is sad only when you are mad at other parts of me, only when you manifest hate to destroy. Then I wait patiently for you to recover, to discover that you have only injured me and thee. Your every fight is my fight too, but not when it is aimed at other beings of me. Your fight is to overcome the urge, to purge yourself of war and woe. None can hold to me and proclaim victory over others of my parts as foe. I am here and there and everywhere. Justice is fair play with me and mine in my eternity of now. And now, the New Jerusalem, referred to in the Bible in Revelations 21:10, is not really new. It is the positive polarity moon that has been orbiting around the earth for many thousands of years. This satellite, called Shanxia by the space people, is a spacecraft. Their name for the earth is Shan. Chia means child in their language of the Solx Mal, or solar tongue. Therefore the name of this ship is Earthchild in English. The same craft was called the Star of Bethlehem over 1900 years ago at the birth of the child called Jesus. The positive polarity spaceship is square. This is not new information. It has been before our eyes hundreds of years in print, though it was not recognized. Revelations 21:16 tells you, and the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. The positive polarity spaceship is square. This is not new information. I think I've already read that. Okay. The reason it was called the Star of Bethlehem was because when it is activated under control, it looks like a star to physical vision. The last time its power units were activated was when the man Jesus was born. This positive star body generates a negative force field around it to protect it when it is in motion as a ship. Beth is used today as beta, meaning negative. Le is used today as Leah, meaning a metal. Him can be understood by any woman as the thing that goes around the bottom of a dress. Star of Bethlehem means a positive body with a negative force field around it over a meadow. That is where Jesus was born, in a manger, in a meadow. Shanxia is orbiting around the earth in the earth's positive force field. It cannot be seen by telescopes because it sets up no resistance to the sun's positive rays. The Bible further tells in Revelation 21:11, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like the jasper stone, clear as a crystal.